Ellen McCauley. I'm at Pray It Up on this beautiful May day in 2023. And on May 12th, 1981, I had my first child. My daughter's birthday's tomorrow, and I don't really understand how she can be 42 when I'm only 59. So I don't really know how that's possible. But I just wanted you all to share in this article called If Not Now, When? Live Life. And I think it's especially attractive to those of us who are going to retire or who have retired, or even those younger ones of you who think, well, I'll do that later. I'll do that when I have more time. And I love how Dr. Driscoll says, I am convinced that very few of us realize our own potential for change, growth, and even transformation, because part of us believes it just isn't in our control. That's far from true. This inaccurate belief can be very limiting all through our lives, especially as we age. And, you know, I like to bring up the fact that a year ago, I was turning 68, and in a few weeks, I'll be turning 69. And a year ago, I got the Invisalign on my teeth, and it's going to be ending on my birthday. And I'm going to be a year older whether I have straight teeth or not. So why was I too old? I still have the same teeth. They're just a little straighter. So I think you're not too old. I always wanted to play the piano really well. Now I can play, if you had a gun to my head and you gave me the big notebook, I could play. And I used to play at St. Camillus, and they loved me. They loved me at St. Camillus because they were a very receptive crowd. And I sang really loud, covering up my bad notes. But one of the things I want to do when I retire is play the piano more. I want to play Broadway show tunes and hymns. I want to sing all the old hymns, which I love. You're never too old to do these things. You're never too old to go back to college. You're never too old to experiment with painting or whatever. I love this. It says, so how old will you be in 3 years if you don't come back to complete your college degree now? You'll be 3 years older, and then you won't have a college degree. So I say, especially if you're limiting yourself by your age, to say, go ahead and do it anyway. Because whether you think you can or whether you think you can't, you're right. Either you can or you can't. It's what you believe inside. And I love this. Henry Ford said that, and he reminds us that self-confidence is an immensely powerful thing, and that the primary key to getting what you want out of life is simply believing you can. If you believe you can. Do you want to travel, learn a new language, paint, play an instrument? I saw Norm playing an instrument earlier tonight. You said you took that up when you retired, right?
I'm only on lesson 1. I need a lot of
He's got the time to do it. Mentor someone, write a book, start a business. If not now, when? Live life. And a lot of people think they need to save their money. I heard someone say recently, not a good friend, but somebody that I know, and said, you know, my husband and I really wanted to do a lot of traveling, but they would really eat into the money we planned on giving our children when we die. And I said, do you mind if I interject right here? I said, because that's your money. You worked hard for it. Let them earn their own. You gave them enough. Travel, do what you want. Go to Europe, go to Ireland. Don't not live your life because you're going to die and give somebody something. Hello? And she was like, whoa, I better buy my ticket tonight. I was like, I asked her, I said, is it okay if I say something? Because our time is now. And they can have their own time. And believe me, I don't think our kids are going to be worrying about what they're going to leave their own kids. Okay? And then, well, you're out there. I think they will. I don't think so. All right. And part of this whole living life and part of doing what we want is overcoming our fear of change. Bob said to me, he retired the 28th of April. He was home last week. He was home this week. Last week was rainy. He was doing things. I said, how do you like it? How's it going? He goes, I have a knot in the pit of my stomach. I feel like I'm a fraud, that I should go to work, that I feel like, I got to do this, I got to do this. He goes, I feel like I got to put in 8 hours of work around the house because I worked 8 hours. And I said, honey, read the Sunday paper, listen to your audiobook. I don't come home, although some of you might think I do not come home and say, did you do this, did you do that, did you do this? I do not do that. I swear I don't. And the thing is, it's going to take a while for him, it's going to take a while for me and anyone newly retired. I know Chris feels that way. She's shaking her head out there. When you retire, you're like, you go 100 miles an hour for so many years, and then you go, and those of you who have retired are like, whoa. And I just think that a change happens slowly and subtly, many changes do, that we barely notice our evolution. All of a sudden, there are fast changes too. In 1997, we decided to quit smoking. And Bob said, okay. Now, Bob was a non-filter smoker until I switched him over to filtered. And then he quit, and he said, okay, I'll quit. And I'm like, really? Just like that? I said, maybe I better chew a little of that nicotine gum to help me over the hump. 1997. I stopped chewing the nicotine gum in 2019. It did get me over the hump. I thought I needed it more than I did. And I stopped it, and I'm like, wait, I didn't need it. So sometimes we need to change, and we're afraid. Oh, what if I really need that gum? I better not quit. Sometimes quitting's the best thing you can do. There's a comfort in routine. You know, if you came in next session and I said, we're not going to do the small group anymore, and you're going to sit in different seats, you're not going to be with the same people, I'm going to put you all over the place, it would be a revolution. People would be going, I quit, I walk out, they'd be picketing, I picket, pray it off, no more, pray it off. You're used to that. But there's other changes that are subtle, like when Nora, who was in the group before, said, hey, every week for the Bible verse, why don't we do that Sundays? Then we'll do a little thinking about it. That was a subtle change. We voted, everyone unanimously agreed, it went over well. A lot of people have a lot of childhood trauma, and therefore they like control. People who are on the spectrum, they're autistic, they like things just a certain way. Those of us that have traumatic childhoods, though, we can get help for that, we can talk about it, and we can maybe believe in ourselves. You know, I'm an oxymoron. I have a very high self-confidence level, but a very low self-image. And they usually don't go together. I mean, usually you have a high self-image, a high self-confidence, and so it's been interesting my whole life to be that way. But I can, even at 68 years old, deal with some traumas in my life. We're so afraid of pain. Oh, if I really try to lose weight, then I can't have a scone, I can't have pizza. I'm just gonna pretend I'm losing weight and just go to Pray It Off every week. And when people ask me, I'll say, I go to a weight loss group every week. And they'll say, the honest ones will say, but I don't think you've ever lost any weight, have you? And then you'll say, but I'm working on it. And sometimes you are working on it. Just coming is working on it. Sometimes you have previous negative experiences to change. One of my problems is that I've lost weight and been successful at losing weight, but then it's so easy to put it back on. You know, I got down to 176, and then I got up to 371. And then, you know, another time I weighed 270 and got back up to 350. I mean, I've failed more times than I can count. One of the beauties of Pray It Off and coming every week is that I haven't failed as much as I've failed in the past. I put on a few pounds from my lowest at Pray It Off, but believe me, I have not put on 150 pounds of what I lost. So Maybe we had bad outcomes before. Does that mean, let's say your first plane ride, there was a crazy person on the plane. I guess you're not supposed to say that. There was a person who had some mental health issues. And they made the plane land in Albuquerque, and you thought you were going to die. So you say, I'm never flying again. Or you can say, hopefully, I won't have to land in Albuquerque again, and try it again. And then you have 10 flights where you don't go to Albuquerque, and then maybe you're okay. There's so much unknown, and we think we can control it. We think we get up on a Thursday morning, and the day's gonna go just the way we want. You know, my niece lived above my mom, she still does, and my mom, God rest her soul, you know, she had the nightlight on, she had everything. Well, the house downstairs is kind of dark, and Hannah lives upstairs, so on Easter morning, she comes downstairs and she's got a Kia, and everyone's reading on the internet that they're the easiest car to steal. All her windows were bashed in. She's trying to get to church with 2 little boys. So she sends her car to the shop, and it's got. She has a loaner that's a piece of crap. It's in there for weeks. She calls the cops. They don't care. No one was murdered. She gets it back. Her birthday. She gets it back on Friday. Her birthday was May 6th, the same day as Jasper's communion. She comes down to go to the communion, and someone had smashed her, the day after she got it back.
Oh my God.
Smashed her driver's door. Oh, I'm not done. Then she gets that window fixed, and then there's a huge crack in it. So it's the 3rd time. Now her closing date for her new house is May 17th, so please pray that she has no more issues. But you think you're gonna get up, and you're gonna go and get in your car, and here's the worst thing you can do. You're in your garage, you open it up, and you back up. I have hit 2 cars in my own driveway. Has anyone else ever done that? Because someone's parked in your driveway, and you don't even know they're in your driveway. And you don't even look. Like one time, Bob gave a guy a ride, and he left his truck in our driveway, and I just went, So now I look in the rearview mirror to make sure no one's parked in my own driveway. So you have to be vigilant, but it doesn't mean you're not going to have control, but you can try. Not wanting to let others down. That's big for me. B-I-G. I told you earlier, I'm just a girl who can't say no, and that's because I don't want to let people down. And I look out here, and I know you guys. Maybe 2 of you would say, forget them. I'm going to do what I want to do when I want to do it. But the rest of you would be like, I don't want to let them down. Okay? And I don't know what's worse. I think there's a happy medium here. I don't want to let you down, but I got to take care of myself right now. But I'm going to help you out down the road. That's one thing we can do. Also, the fear of death. Being born is kind of crazy. And our parents are like, they all know that everyone's going to die. So they must have decided that life is worth living to have children. They know everyone's going to die someday. So they must think life is more worth living than the worrying about death. But the problem is we don't always do enough living. You know, we don't have a lot of money. We decided to retire. It's going to be a little tight, you know. But the thing is, we can still do a lot of living. We don't have to be millionaires. Although I am going to win the Holy Family Raffle. But there's a couple tickets over there if anyone wants them. Now, there are a lot of symptoms for fear. If you're having a panic attack, then you've got too much going on. You know, if you have the heart palpitations, the sweaty palms, all of those things, and the desire to be constantly reassured, you really have an unhealthy relationship with your fears. And that's when you might need professional help, okay? And I had a friend who, when she was in college, tried marijuana, like a lot of people did back in the 70s. I never tried drugs because I knew I would have a problem with them. So I said, enough, I have cigarettes and beer. That's enough. But she had an allergic reaction. So now she's got a lot of pain and she wants to take the medicinal gummies and things. She's deathly afraid to even try it. And I can almost relate to that kind of anxiety, you know, but the doctor might suggest starting in smaller doses. Baby steps. Our favorite movie, one of our favorite movies, What About Bob? I love that movie. I love it, love it, love it. And the psychiatrist told him, baby steps, baby steps, baby steps. And one of my favorite lines is when he was eating dinner with Richard Dreyfuss and his family, and he said, "Is this corn hand shucked?" And so every time we have corn, we say it. We say, "Is this corn hand shucked?" You have to. Anyway, you can either, when you're doing baby steps. Now, Bob said, "I'm not going to do no stinking baby steps. I'm quitting smoking in 1997. Never had another cigarette." Other people like Ellen might take a 23-year baby step. But I'm still there. Hey, it's been 4 years, I took it. So no one's got a gun to our head. Write a list of changes that are beneficial to you. I was the director of admissions at Van Dyne, and I was afraid to go downtown to the county and be a public information specialist. What if I fail? What if I'm not good? I got to take a civil service test. What if I don't score in the top 3? I got a solid job now. Should I do it? Should I do it? Should I do it? Prayed about it. What should I do? Decided to go. Big change. I scored in the top 3. You guys prayed me into it. It was the best thing I ever did. To be the director of admissions in a skilled nursing facility during COVID, it would have killed me. God has a plan, and He sees way down the road. He sees 7, 8 years, 9, 10 years down the road. Also, whenever there's a what-if thought, you need to say, well, what if I fail? But then you can also say, what if I succeed? I'm going to stop right there, Bobby. I'm going to continue.